it's more so the tight end depth was so good. I love Stowers in terms of, a non-blocking, non-physical, non-violent tight end who's more of a receiver. I like Stowers as much as Sadiq. His catch radius is a lot more impressive to me. I even think he breaks tackles better than Sadiq. Sadiq's got that speed, obviously. He's the combine guy. But overall, that's the theme to me. I think the great organizations, the great head coaches graciously accepted gifts and didn't overthink it, whereas some of the other teams did.
Do you think the Jets overthought it, though, with Sadiq? I think he was their best player. They had him graded higher than the receivers that were there, and that's why they took him. And I think Muji had a good feel for the board that one of the guys they were targeting at wide receiver would potentially be there at the end of round one, and they had a trade worked out if that scenario existed, and then they executed.
Sure. The Sadiq, I'm not going to crush the Sadiq pick. I'm not going to crush. I don't love it.
But I didn't love it in real time, but I like it a lot more because I can't criticize them for doubling up on pass catcher.
Let's put it this way. It comes down to, and we often throw this out the window for some reason, and it's out of sight, out of mind. Just the evaluation of the players involved, and forget position, forget draft board value. In terms of Lemon versus Sadiq, I don't think it's close. I'm taking Mekhi Lemon. And the cherry on top, I just think he's the better player. The IQ, the instincts are there. Sadiq's instincts and IQ, I don't know, just spatial stuff. In terms of reading coverages, does he go down a little easier than he should for his body, his prototype? We'll see. I think Wright could do some things, but tight end was deep too, man. Those mid-round there are so many guys in this draft that you'd feel good with in terms of drafting in the second or third round, maybe even fourth. A couple went in the fourth, but did they overthink it in this vein? Too specific with these players? Because to me, Bailey and Sadiq are not complete players. They're more specialized in a lot of different ways. Sadiq is a specialized tight end who's not really a blocker. So he's, you kind of have to evaluate him as a receiver, whereas Bailey, same thing, but pass rushing as opposed to the more complete game where he wins on quickness and speed and hands and first step and no violence and no physicality. So that's it. I mean, overall, the draft, I liked pretty much every pick except for those two, the first two.
Interesting. I understand you liked Lemon better than Sadiq. So did I. But I almost feel like if you're going to still come away with Cooper, I liked Cooper enough where if they took him at 16, I don't think I'd criticize the Jets. I'd say maybe that's a little early, but I'm the one telling everyone that Alec Pierce is making $30 million a year almost, and it's basically a premium position now. So if you got to slightly overdraft, I mean, that's where you're going to find cost control weapons in today's game. So
imagine this scenario: Reese at 2, Lemon at 16, Cooper at 30, Stowers in the second round.
I just don't think that'd be possible for them to go two receivers who predominantly, when think about it, Lemon is predominantly a slot guy. Garrett also is going to be used in the slot and on the outside. And then you're going to bring in Cooper, who can play on the outside. He did 2 years ago, but you're going to use a lot of his reps in the slot. Maybe they think it was a good fit if they went that way.
I just think we think too much about positions, but it's okay. So think about it this way: reset 2, Lemon at 16, keep that number 33. Trade down, grab more assets, go Ponds and Stowers in the second round. Like that's feasible too. So listen, it's again, Jets fans, don't let me get you down. I've been Mr. Wrong in the past many times, just not recently in the last 2 years.
Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. We're reviewing the Jets draft class with Robby Sabo after Joel Klatt said the Jets won the draft.
Everybody wins.
They chose productivity over projection, essentially, which there's nothing wrong with that. But in terms of Bailey now, like expectation-wise, what are the expectations year one? I mean, I think this guy needs to have at least 8 sacks as a rookie to feel good about the pick. I don't think that's unreasonable. This guy's the number 2 pick in the draft. He is the top player in this draft that is not Fernando Mendoza, right? The first non-QB to go. Part of the PR spin from the Jets has been, well, Bailey is more ready, and you're not projecting his position, whereas Reese would be learning on the fly how to become a big-time pass rusher. So what are the expectations in your mind now for David Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, let's get this out of the way. That narrative, and you labeled it correctly, is completely absurd. It's an absurd thing to say. I understand why the Jets do it, but it's absurd. And Glenn, in the presser afterwards, his comment kind of struck me. He said both guys are going to have a great career. And by the way, Reese going to the Giants, I love it personally. I absolutely love it because
Well, it adds pressure to Bailey to be
oh,
a performer because he's going to be directly compared to the other guy in town.
I love it. And we're not thinking about this enough, honestly. And I get it. Everyone gets wrapped up with their own team. But the rationale, what Glenn said afterwards, struck me in that Bailey fits them better. He didn't say Bailey's a better player. He said Bailey fits them better. And there are times when you want to go with the better fitting player. I just don't think this is one of them at number 2. I think you take the better player. So the other thing is too, it's like, it just feels like there's different timelines in terms of decision makers. I wonder, and I don't know anything, but based on free agency and based on what happened with the coaches, where it took so long, it doesn't feel like they have one final boss at the top making the decisions, like a Harbaugh in New York with the Giants. Because if you saw that post-draft presser, Shane was just parroting everything Harbaugh was saying. It just feels like Reese is much more of an Aaron Glenn guy than Bailey, and it's not close.
Well, I think Muji was way more involved in the draft this year. I mean,
yes.
all you needed to do was hear Muji talk about how they changed their entire scouting grading system.
It feels like analytics led the way, and that's a scary thing. And also, are they overthinking it in this vein? Oh, the NFL trends going to more two tight ends. But did you overthink it in that vein as opposed to taking the better overall player? Is my question.
But here's the thing. We can't criticize the Jets for being archaic with the, we want to run the ball and smash mouth football and ignore strategy. And then we see them go out there and clearly have a real plan. Like Brian Costello always says he doesn't like giving out draft grades, but he'll grade on logic.
Yeah.
Like the logic of what they did, I don't think you could argue. Like David Bailey, I know you're not as high on him as some, but there were plenty who felt he was a no-brainer, best pass rusher in the draft. You just take him. Sadiq, big-time weapon, not going to get out of the top 12. He was there for you. Cooper, no way he'd be there at 30 for the Jets to get. Like, they got great value with their picks. If you look at, like, the prospects they took, none of them were considered, like, reaches or, like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't criticize the Jets for how they operated a year ago with their mentality and now trying to modernize their offense with 12 personnel and matchup advantages that Sadiq can provide. You know what I mean? Like, I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt for at least trying to be a modern NFL team.
I know what you're saying, but I think we're conflating two things: coaching and evaluation of personnel. Again, it comes down to, and we throw this aside, it comes down to the specific evaluations that we have of these players. And that's what it comes down to. And you could criticize the coaching for being archaic and the mindset in terms of coaching being archaic and think they drafted the wrong guy and went too far in a certain specific direction. But I get what you're saying overall in terms of that theme.
Well, I just think Muji was more involved, but I think that's a good thing because I think he's got a pulse. He's got a clue. He comes from Denver, where they're one of the better teams at drafting over the last couple of years under Sean Payton. Like, I just think you look at what they did, there was, to me, a real plan. Whereas a year ago, it kind of felt like, especially on day 3, there necessarily wasn't a real plan. Like, they just lit picks on fire.
It's but see, early though, there was a plan. Membu, Glenn talked about power rushing, doing that thing. Fine. Drafted him, and he's a hell of a pick so far. Mason Taylor, he wasn't given much of an opportunity. So the plan, quote unquote, could be spun in a number of different directions. That's why I just try to stick to the evaluation with each player.
Isn't it possible they evaluated David Bailey, though, and they thought he was the best player?
Dude, I'm not going to try to get in their minds.
That should be the messaging. But I do think they thought Sadiq was better than the wide receivers that were on the board there. I think they just, again, I think you talk about coaching. Go listen to Frank Reich on the call with Kenyon Sadiq. That was a Frank Reich influenced pick.
Are you a happy guy?
Oh, my God. Let's go.
All right. He was a happy guy calling Sadiq there.
Right. Which feels like, again, it goes back to it doesn't feel like there's one clear-cut leader. And that's is an eyebrow raiser for me.
Well, do you really want Aaron Glenn to be the clear-cut leader when it was as bad as it was in year 1?
I just want one guy to be. And
I think it's Muji.
Listen, see, we're getting into stuff that's well beyond, 6 feet of digging the hole. Like, me and you have had a conversation after the season that would have put all of this to bed. So look, I just, the situation to have is what you have in New York with the Giants with Harbaugh. One clear-cut guy, confident, making the decisions. And I don't know what's going on with the Jets. I don't know if it has shifted from Glenn to Muji. I'm just asking the questions because it just feels like things don't seem to be matching up in a lot of ways for me.
Well, hopefully Glenn has either adapted and realized some of the wrongs in year one, but I think it's way more collaborative. I don't think Muji's like, Aaron, I don't care about your opinion. I'm taking this player no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I do think Muji's more involved. I mean, Glenn said as much when he spoke at the Combine about how involved Muji and Rick Spielman, for that matter, were in some of the coaching staff hires. Muji talked about how they overhauled a lot of their scouting staff. They have hired more analytics people. I spoke with someone in the Jet front office that specifically mentioned Sadiq as a way to open things up for Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor. So I don't think it's like, oh, well, they missed on Taylor, he doesn't fit. It's like, no, they want to be modern with 12 personnel, use Sadiq as a power slot and Taylor's the inline tight end.
Love that. I would not criticize that line of thinking. No way. I think that's a very positive sign. So,
look, the proof will be on the field. We could be excited about a draft class all we want. We've done this many times as Jet fans. Like the Jets have had plenty of A's or A minuses over the years, and they've done nothing with it when the games actually mattered. But I do want to at least try and be positive when we can be positive, because I think most fans come away from this draft encouraged and feel like, hey, maybe we actually have a real general manager. Hit the like button if you're just joining us. Robby Sabo is my guest. Load up your calls on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline if you want in on the conversation. Couple programming notes. The Jets Collective will be live today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, a day version of the Jets Collective. Join me, Rich Cimini, and Brandon Tierney as we recap and break down the 2026 New York Jets draft class. Rich will have updates on the latest on Breece Hall and a possible contract extension that could be coming there. So join us 2 p.m. today. We're taping during the day, so BT and I don't have to be on the air during a Knicks playoff game, because God knows how stressful that could potentially be. On our show today, we're going to give away a signed Darrelle Revis helmet. Enter the Asmaniac Raffle for your chance to win a helmet signed by one of the greatest New York Jets of all time. I'm holding it in my hand right now. It includes the sticker from Beckett memorabilia of authentication. So if you want in on a Revis helmet, get the membership or send in a $10 super chat or higher to qualify. And here we go. New set of weekly raffle prizes. Prize 1, signed Joe Klecko football. Prize 2, signed Vinny Testaverde jersey. Prize 3, Garrett Wilson framed jersey plaque. Prize 4, signed Braylon Allen jersey. Those are the first 4 prizes in the weekly raffle next week on our show. Here we go. Ozzy, the first to enter the Asmaniac Raffle. He's in for one.
Are you a happy guy? Oh, my goodness. Let's go.
Ozzy's gifted membership went to listener Craig F. Mechanics. So, Ozzy, thank you very much for your support. All right, we got a bunch of super chats I want to get caught up on, and then I have more thoughts on the draft that I want to get Robbie's take on, including...
By the way, I love the Cooper, Daryl Jackson, and Pons picks. Love them. Absolutely. I think they were home runs.
Oh, we'll get to that. And then I want to get your thoughts on Kate Klubnik as well. All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throw in some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good.
I think we have a GM. Obviously, we'll see how these guys pan out in the field and what that looks like. But I just think there's enough we've seen from Muji so far that tells me he gets it. He's competent, understands trades, understands value. I love the answer he gave about how they completely revamped their process for how they input data in everything they get from the scouts and the analytics staff, and how they have a system in place where that's all kind of marred together. I think we got the right guy. Time will tell. He's going to have to make a pick at quarterback at some point. That's not Kate Klubnik or, signing Justin Fields or trading nothing for Geno Smith. Like, the big swing is coming, I believe. But we're going to learn about the head coach now. There's no excuse for the head coach to not show dramatic improvement. He's got a roster that is at least capable of scoring points and being way more effective defensively with him taking over the defense. So that, to me, is the biggest thing. Like, there are no excuses for the head coach. The GM has done his job. Now let's see if the head coach could do his. Who says Sadiq is a Jonnu Smith / Noah Fant type of tight end, a reach. We'll see, Bang.
Bang doesn't like it.
He doesn't like anything the Jets ever do. So,
well, no, I thought he was hammering me about not liking Bailey. He loves the Bailey pick, doesn't he?
Does he? Bang, what are your thoughts on the Jets draft class? I know you'll never call
Am I
in.
mixing him up with someone else? I forget. I think it was last week.
Yo Holmes wanted Bailey. He gives
it
you
was
a hard
Yo
time.
Holmes. That's right. It was Yo Holmes. Yeah.
Yeah, Bang typically hates anything the Jets do, so that's how this goes.
Yep.
I mean,
Yo
come
Holmes
on.
is still my dude. Don't worry, yo.
Also, whenever leader of Jets calls back in, I can't wait to play his take from the Wayback Machine when he guaranteed me that Ty Simpson was going to be the second pick in the draft to the Jets.
Ooh.
I think he owes. Remember, he serves. Boomtown sent me the link. I haven't gone back and downloaded it yet. I believe leader of Jets, owes this community 20 gifted memberships, I believe.
Ooh. How about Simpson? Simpson going, 13, and McVay afterwards. What did you think about that? McVay's disposition, not so sunny.
Weird, but it turns out they met with him privately. McVay was a part of that. So
okay. I haven't kept up with that story.
Now, McVay said that, out of respect to Stafford, he didn't want to be all giddy and excited. I don't know. It didn't pass the smell test, but at the same time, what is McVay not going to coach the guy hard now? He's not going to help him. Ty went to the best possible situation. He doesn't have to play for 2 years.
But it's just wild that, arguably the best head coach in a league was or potentially was overruled by the GM. That's the big story to me in terms of if he really didn't want him or not.
If that's true, yeah.
Yeah, best quarterback coach in the league. How is that possible? If true, we don't know.
This one is from M123. He cuts the line. 2024 Jets, 20th in defense, 24th in offense. Rodgers' stats probably better than what Geno can do. Is it coaching? Also, size chart. Gary is closer to a medium than large. Well, I'll tell you what, M123. I can't speak to Gary's size and what t-shirt he wears. But as far as your first point, the defense sucked in 2024. I don't even think they actually were 20th. If you watched it, right? How many times did the 2024 Jets have the lead late? The offense actually gave them the lead, and then the defense choked it away. They were awful defensively. They blew so many games. Obviously, the kicking situation led to them losing several games as well, but the defense collapsed multiple times. And then this past year, they didn't play any defense. But in 2024, they'd have the lead late in games and blow it. They blew the lead 7 times in the fourth quarter. They led the NFL in that. They were that was the team that blew more leads than any team in franchise history in the fourth quarter. Rodgers' stats, some of it was sure a little bit inflated. They threw a lot. There was some garbage time in there. But 28 touchdowns is still 28 touchdowns. I don't know if Geno's going to do that. Do I think Geno Smith could throw 25 touchdowns, though? Or come pretty close to that? I do. The biggest thing for Geno to put up numbers is twofold. One, he's got to stay healthy. Duh.
And two, the Jets have to be playing meaningful games because if they're out of it at the end of the year, they're going to play Cade Klubnik. He's going to see the field. They'll shut Geno down and go into evaluation mode, which is a soft tank. But if Klubnik plays well, they'll live with the result. That's what happens. That's what teams do. You know what I mean? Like Geno Smith, if he's healthy, that's the first step. And he's been pretty much healthy for most of his career. You know, obviously, one of the injuries that cost him to miss time was the infamous IK Emetapali knockout punch. But Geno's been durable in his career. I mean, last year he played 15 of 17 games. In Seattle, he started all 17 games in 22, 15 of 17 and 23, all 17 and 24, and he started 15 of 17 this past year. This guy plays when he's been out there. He started every game as a rookie with the Jets. 2014, he started 13 of 16 games that year. Remember, that was the year Mike Vick played a couple of games. Ugh. Geno forgot about time zones and was late for a meeting, and that was the excuse. So stat-wise, I mean, look, I think Geno Smith is capable of probably throwing anywhere from 20 to 25 touchdowns conservatively. He's got to cut back on the interceptions. I'll take less touchdowns from Geno if it's less interceptions. Like if you told me, would you rather Geno throw 28 touchdowns, but he's going to have 15 picks, or 20 touchdowns and he's going to have 8 picks? I'll take that. Because I do think this team should be able to run the football with Brees. They have a good offensive line. And you're going to have to respect the passing attack more when you add Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper Jr. And you got a full year of A.D. Mitchell, another year of growth from Mason Taylor. They're not bereft of talent here.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the fuck out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.